Amateur garbage. That's what your photos are, she yelled, mocking my dream of being a photographer. She called my dream childish and tried to sabotage it until I landed the biggest contract of my life. So this happened and I'm still processing it. Sorry if this is long, but I need to get this out. I've been with Lily for 3 years. We moved in together last year and I thought things were going well. I work part-time at Best Buy doing tech support while building my photography business on the side. I specialize in commercial and fashion photography. Nothing crazy artistic, just good clean work that pays. I've been grinding for 2 years, slowly building a client base, saving every penny to upgrade my equipment and eventually rent proper studio space. Last month I got offered a promotion to full-time manager at Best Buy. Good benefits, steady $45K salary, the whole corporate track thing. Here's where it gets messy. I turned it down. I've been getting more photography gigs lately, some local fashion brands, a few small businesses wanting product shots. I'm finally at the point where I could transition to photography full-time if I'm smart about it. When I told Lily, she completely lost it. Like nuclear explosion level meltdown. You did what? She screamed, jumping up from the couch. Are you kidding me right now? I tried to stay calm. Lily, just listen for a second. I can explain. Her voice was getting higher and more hysterical. Explain how you just threw away our entire future for your little hobby. It's not a hobby, it's my career. I've been building this for 2 years. Career, she laughed, but it was harsh and bitter. You're living in a fantasy world. Real men take stable jobs to provide for their families, not chase after pipe dreams. My stomach was starting to knot up. This isn't a pipe dream. I have actual clients, actual contracts. Amateur garbage, she yelled. That's what your photos are. Amateur garbage that no one actually wants to pay for. You think some local boutique hiring you for peanuts means you're a real photographer. I felt like I'd been slapped. These are paying clients, Lily. Professional work, professional. She was pacing now, gesturing wildly. You're too old to be chasing teenage dreams. You should be thinking about mortgages and kids and retirement funds, not playing with cameras. I tried to pull up my business plan on my laptop. If you just look at the numbers, you'd see this is viable. I've got everything mapped out. I don't care about your numbers. She slammed the laptop shut. You're being selfish and immature. What about us? What about our future together? This is about our future. I'm building something. You're building nothing. Her face was red now. You're a grown man playing dress up as an artist. Do you know how embarrassing this is for me? I'm not going to waste my 20s supporting some loser who thinks he's going to be the next Annie Leibovitz. I'm 26 years old and I want a real relationship with a real man who has real goals. The silence that followed was deafening. I just sat there, laptop closed, looking at this woman I thought I knew. She was breathing hard, staring at me like I was a stranger who'd just broken into her house. The thing is, my photography income has been growing steadily. Last month I made $2,800 from shoots, which isn't amazing, but it's progress. I've got a waiting list of clients now. A local boutique wants me to do their entire fall catalog, but when I tried to tell Lily this, she rolled her eyes and said I'm counting money that doesn't exist yet. What really got to me was her tone, like she was talking to a child who believes in Santa Claus. She keeps asking when I'm going to grow up and get serious about life. But I am serious about this. I wake up every day excited to work on my craft. I study lighting tutorials until 2 a.m. I network at every local business event. This isn't some weekend hobby, it's my career. The final straw was yesterday. I was editing photos from a wedding I shot, which paid $1,500 by the way, and she walked by and said, "Still playing with your little camera, I see." When I didn't respond, she added, "Let me know when you're ready to have an adult conversation about our actual future." I looked at her and something just clicked. This woman doesn't see me as a partner pursuing a legitimate career. She sees me as a man-child who needs to be managed and corrected. Every conversation about my work ends with her dismissing it or making me feel stupid for believing in myself. Am I crazy here? Is wanting to build a creative business really that unrealistic? I'm not asking her to support me financially. I'm covering my half of everything. I just want her to believe in what I'm working toward instead of constantly tearing it down. I love her, but I can't keep feeling like I have to choose between my dreams and her approval. Has anyone else dealt with a partner who just couldn't support their ambitions? Edit, reading all your responses, and a lot of you are saying things I needed to hear. Going to talk to her tonight. For those asking, yes, I have a portfolio website and business social media. This isn't just me taking photos of my lunch. I have actual clients and contracts. Update 1. Posted 2 weeks ago, so I took your advice and tried to have a calm conversation with Lily about supporting each other's goals. I laid out my business plan, showed her my client testimonials, even pulled up my bank statements showing the photography income. I thought if she could see the actual numbers and potential, she'd understand this isn't some pipe dream. Nope. She sat there with this expression like I was showing her my Pokémon card collection. When I finished, she sighed and said, "Honey, I know you think this is going somewhere, but we need to be realistic about your limitations." My limitations. Those were her exact words. I asked what she meant, and she said I don't have the natural business instincts to make it in a competitive field. That photography is oversaturated and I'm not aggressive enough to stand out. She said most successful photographers come from money or have connections I don't have. Then she hit me with this gem. "You're a really sweet guy, but sweet guys don't become entrepreneurs. You're better suited for stable employment." When I pushed back, she got frustrated and said she's trying to protect me from inevitable disappointment. That she loves me, but part of loving someone is helping them make smart choices. She said if I really cared about our relationship, I'd accept the manager position and we could save money for a house and start planning a family. Then it got worse. She said her friends keep asking what my real job is because when she tells them I'm a photographer, they assume I'm unemployed. She's embarrassed to tell people what I do for work. She said her sister's husband just got promoted to regional sales director and makes 6 figures, and she feels like she can't contribute to conversations about career success because my boyfriend takes pictures. I was honestly stunned. This woman I've loved for 3 years just told me she's ashamed of my work and considers me a failure as a provider. But wait, there's more. She said if we're going to get married someday, news to me that this was definite. She needs to know I can step up and be the man of the house. That means stable income, health insurance, 401k, all the traditional markers of masculine success. She said every woman wants security, and she's not going to apologize for expecting her partner to prioritize their family's financial future over creative hobbies. The kicker. She said she's already told her parents I'm getting promoted to management because she was too embarrassed to explain why I turned it down. So now I have to either take the job or make her look like a liar to her family. I pointed out that her job at the marketing agency pays less than what I made last month from photography. She said that's different because she's building real career experience while I'm playing around with a camera. She has benefits and networking opportunities. I have no professional development or advancement potential. When I mentioned that some of my clients want to book me for ongoing work, she laughed and said small businesses fail all the time and I'll be left with nothing when they do. She said I'm naive about how business works and I'm setting myself up to be a 35-year-old man with no real work history, trying to explain to employers why I spent my 20s playing photographer. The conversation ended with her saying she loves me, but she's not going to enable my delusions anymore. Either I get serious about building a stable career, or she needs to reconsider whether we're compatible long-term. She said it breaks her heart, but she can't watch me waste my potential. Here's what's really messing with my head. She says all this while acting like she's the reasonable one looking out for my best interests. Like she's making painful but necessary tough love choices. She keeps emphasizing how much she loves me and wants me to succeed, which makes me question if I'm being stubborn and unrealistic. But then I look at my client list and my growing income and I think, what limitations? I was booked by 3 new clients this week. A local restaurant chain wants me to photograph their new menu items. I'm literally building the business she says is impossible. Is she right that I'm being naive? Are successful photographers really just lucky rich kids with connections? Or is she trying to mold me into her version of an acceptable boyfriend? I'm starting to think this isn't really about money or stability. It's about her image of what kind of man she should be with. And I don't fit that image. Edit. To answer some questions, yes, she makes $38K at her job. I made $31K last year between Best Buy and photography. This year I'm on track to make $45K plus from photography alone if the growth continues. Someone asked about the wedding comment. We've never seriously discussed marriage. She just assumed that's where we're headed and now apparently has a timeline for when I need to become marriage material. Update 2. Posted 1 week ago. I need to update you guys because this situation just went completely nuclear and I'm honestly shaking as I write this. Remember how I mentioned a local boutique wanted me to shoot their fall catalog? Well, that client reached out Monday asking if we could move up the timeline because they loved my test shots so much. It's a $4,500 contract spread over 6 weeks, by far my biggest booking yet. I was ecstatic. I made the mistake of telling Lily about it that night. She barely looked up from her phone and said, "That's nice, honey," in the same tone you'd use for a kid who drew a picture. No congratulations, no excitement, just complete dismissal of what's actually a career-changing opportunity for me. But here's where it gets insane. Yesterday, the boutique owner called me sounding confused and concerned. She said someone claiming to be my business manager had called their store asking detailed questions about the contract, payment schedule, and whether they'd checked my professional insurance and credentials. The caller also mentioned that fashion photography requires very specific licensing, and they should verify I have the proper certifications. I don't have a business manager. I handle everything myself. And while insurance is smart, which I'm working on, it's not legally required for commercial photography in our state. The boutique owner was now worried she'd hired someone who wasn't properly licensed and asked if we could postpone while she verified my credentials. I spent 3 hours on the phone explaining that photography doesn't require licensing like electrician work and showing her my contracts with other businesses to prove I'm legitimate. Thank God she's reasonable because she agreed to move forward, but she's understandably more cautious now. When I got home, I was fuming. I asked Lily if she knew anything about someone calling my client. "What do you mean?" she asked, not looking up from her phone. "Someone called about what?" "Someone claiming to be my business manager called the boutique asking about insurance and licensing requirements. Scared the hell out of them." "That's weird." She shrugged and went back to scrolling. Sounds like you have some kind of business identity theft situation, but something about her body language was off. She was sitting too rigidly, focusing too hard on her phone screen. The owner said it was a woman who knew specific details about our contract, details that only you and I have talked about. Well, I didn't call anyone. Her voice was getting defensive now. Why would I even do that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. She set her phone down with an exaggerated sigh. "Look, I'm sorry someone messed with your client, but don't start accusing me of things." I stared at her for a long moment. "Lily, I really need you to tell me the truth here. This could have cost me my biggest contract." She held eye contact for about 3 seconds before it all crumbled. Her shoulders sagged and she looked down at her hands. "Okay, fine. I might have called them." "You might have. I did call them, okay, but I was trying to protect you from legal liability. What if something goes wrong and you get sued?" I pressed her on exactly what she said to them, and she admitted she might have mentioned that many photographers work without proper business licenses and insurance, and that businesses need to be careful about who they hire. She said she was just looking out for my interests. Bullshit. She was trying to sabotage the job. I called her out and she broke down crying, saying she's scared I'm making a huge mistake that will hurt both of us. That she can't watch me fail and drag her down with me. She said if this client relationship goes bad, it will confirm that I'm not ready for this level of business responsibility. Then she said something that made everything click into place. I've been researching photography as a career online, and most people struggle for years without making real money. I found forums where photographers talk about how hard it is and how many fail. I printed some articles about the statistics. She's been actively researching ways to prove my business won't work. While I've been grinding to build something, she's been looking for evidence that I'm doomed to fail. She showed me a folder on her laptop titled Photography Industry Research, full of articles about struggling artists and failed creative businesses. When I asked why she'd do this instead of supporting me, she said someone had to be realistic about our future since I won't be. She said if she doesn't advocate for financial stability, no one will. She's convinced she's saving me from myself. But here's the thing that really broke me. She admitted she's been talking to her friends about what to do when your boyfriend won't grow up. She's been presenting our situation to them as her trying to guide an immature partner toward responsible adulthood. They've been advising her to give me an ultimatum: choose career stability or lose the relationship. She's been building a narrative where I'm the irresponsible dreamer and she's the long-suffering girlfriend trying to save our future. Her entire social circle sees me as a man-child who won't face reality. The worst part: she said if I take the Best Buy promotion now, she'll tell everyone I came to my senses and decided to prioritize our relationship. Like this whole thing was just a phase I needed to work through with her guidance. I realized she doesn't want a partner who's building something. She wants a partner who fits her idea of what success looks like, even if it means tearing down what I'm actually accomplishing. I told her we need space to think about where this relationship is going. She's staying at her sister's this week while I figure out my next move. The boutique owner called this morning confirming we're still on schedule. Despite Lily's interference, I'm about to land the biggest contract of my career so far. I think I know what I need to do, but part of me keeps wondering if she's right about the risks. What if I am being naive? What if she was trying to protect me and I'm too stubborn to see it? Edit. Someone asked about the timeline. She's been researching for at least 2 months based on the file dates. She's been building a case against my business this entire time. My photographer friend Jake, who's been shooting professionally for 5 years, just texted me. Apparently Lily reached out to him asking if he thinks I have realistic expectations about the industry. Even he's concerned about her behavior now. Final update. Posted 3 days ago. Final update because this saga has reached its conclusion, and I want to thank this community for helping me see clearly when I was doubting myself. First, the good news. The boutique shoot was a massive success. Not only did they love the photos, but they signed me for their spring catalog too and referred me to 3 other local businesses. I've booked more work in the past 2 weeks than I had in the previous 2 months. I'm officially transitioning to full-time photography next month. Also got my business insurance sorted and registered my LLC properly. Turns out the boutique owner has a brother who's a small business lawyer, and he walked me through everything I needed to make this legitimate. Having actual business credentials feels incredible. Now for the Lily situation. After staying at her sister's for a week, she texted asking if we could talk. I agreed to meet at a coffee shop because I wanted closure. She showed up with printed apologies, actual printed pages like a presentation. She said she'd been reflecting on her mistakes and realized she was letting fear control her actions. She acknowledged that calling my client was wrong and that she should have supported my dreams instead of undermining them. But here's where it got weird. She said she'd been doing more research about photography careers, of course she had, and found examples of photographers who make good money. She brought articles about wedding photographers earning 6 figures and commercial photographers working with major brands. Like she'd suddenly discovered that photography could be profitable after months of telling me it was impossible. She said she was proud of my recent success and wanted to be part of my journey going forward. She offered to help with my business, social media, and bookkeeping since she has marketing experience. She said we could work together to build our photography business, After sabotaging my biggest client, she wanted to become my business partner. I asked her what changed. She shifted uncomfortably in her chair. People are allowed to change their minds when presented with new evidence, you know. I was wrong before, but now I see your potential. New evidence, I leaned back. What evidence exactly? Well, the contracts you're getting, the money you're making. I did more research and found out photography can actually be profitable if you do it right. So you only believe in my dreams now because there's proof of profit. That's not, she stopped, realizing how that sounded. I mean, I was scared before. I was scared of you failing and us struggling financially. But now that I see you can actually make money at this, I want to support your success. There it was, the truth laid bare. Lily, do you hear yourself right now? I felt something cold settle in my chest. When I was grinding and growing and needed your faith in my vision, you actively worked against me, sabotaging my career. But now that the financial outcome is visible, you want back in. Her eyes started to well up. I was trying to protect us. I was scared and maybe I went too far, but I always loved you. My heart was in the right place. I shook my head. Your heart was in the right place when you called my biggest client pretending to be my business manager. She wiped her eyes and took a shaky breath. Okay, look. If you're being honest with yourself, you'd admit that my pushing you to think seriously about stability probably motivated you to work harder and book more clients. Maybe I helped you succeed without realizing it. I stared at her in disbelief. Are you kidding me right now? You're taking credit for my success. You think your sabotage motivated me. Not sabotage. I was challenging you to prove yourself, and you did. She was getting animated now, like she'd found her angle. Maybe I was the push you needed to really commit to this. Even in her apology, she couldn't admit she was wrong. She had to find a way to make her destructive behavior part of my success story. We're done, Lily. What? No, wait, she reached across the table. Please don't say that. I've learned my lesson. I'll never doubt your business again, I promise. It's too late. No, it's not. She was crying harder now. We've invested 3 years together. It's stupid to throw that away over a misunderstanding about career goals. I almost laughed. A misunderstanding? Fine. Just think of this whole thing as a misunderstanding if that helps you sleep at night. I stood up from the table. But I needed a partner who could believe in me during the struggle, not just celebrate the results. You failed that test. Please, she whispered, please don't do this. But I was already walking away. She texted me every day for a week after that. Long messages about how much she loves me and how good we could be together now that my business is taking off. She said her friends think she's crazy for letting me go now that I'm becoming successful. That last text told me everything. Her friends think she's an idiot for dumping a guy who's about to make good money. Not because she hurt someone she loved, but because she miscalculated the financial potential. I blocked her number yesterday. I'm doing better than ever professionally and personally. My business is growing, my confidence is back, and I'm surrounded by people who believed in me when it mattered. To anyone dealing with a partner who tears down your dreams, their fear of your failure says more about them than about your potential. The right person will be excited about what you're building, not constantly predicting why it won't work. Thanks for helping me see that I deserved better than someone who only loved the successful version of me she could imagine, not the struggling entrepreneur I actually was.